Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Um, we're going to be talking about some crazy stuff today. Let me get Facebook up and running here. Um, for those of you that caught my early morning live this morning, right after that, the headaches I was talking about kicked right back. So I went and steamed. That helped a lot, and then took a nice hour and a half long nap. Uh, I'm finding the values of a nap as I get older. I don't care what nobody says, even if it makes me feel or people think I'm old. Think what you want. I'll be loving my naps. All right, and I'm gonna keep taking them as long as my body say take a nap.
Marlon's
I
like,
feel
we
a
do
lot
not
better.
care.
Yeah, we do not care. We do not care. Because I need rest. So apparently I'm gonna take it. But if you see my eyes at half mast, just understand that I'm trying to stay low key to make sure that headache don't come back.
Mhm.
Okay. However, the topic may may require some enthusiasm.
Yeah, for
Or infuriation, however you
Or
want to.
infuriation. All the buzz right now is about this so-called tariffing that America has been placing on China, and the tariff wars. I think China is up to 120%, and then America is at 144, 145% tariffs on
Mhm.
certain things. Um, the bigger issue here is what was the tariffing system prior to, and how did it affect the United States, and how did it affect China? And exactly why should we care about China's economy, knowing what China stands for and does? That is, I think, the bigger question, as opposed to whether or not we should be having a tariff war, a trade war. Um, and the amount of people on the left that are applauding China is amazing to me, but it's not surprising. Listen, it's not surprising. It should not be surprising. You have to understand that back in 2004, 5, 6, American um, identification was a lot stronger than it is now. You saw the onset of communism kicking in around the time of Clinton, Reagan, on the end of Reagan,
Mhm.
Bush, and stuff like that. Communism was really starting to really pump up, but it was still frowned upon. But by the time that Obama kicked himself in there, communism was all the rave here on American soil. I don't
Mhm.
know how many of you are keeping track of that, but it was a massive thing. Like the whole idea of socialism and communism was
Yeah.
starting to come out in school. They started to push it um, with the rise of CRT and all that stuff. Anything Marxism was really starting to pop off.
Mhm.
And now you're seeing, after now it's been 20 years plus, um, you're seeing now the real effects of what the schooling did to the economy and to the people here. And everybody
Mhm.
now is full blown idealistic towards the, and I shouldn't say everybody, majority actually, and you might be surprised to say that, but it is a majority of people that are coming out of schools and colleges are pro communist,
Yeah.
which is why they have such a high affinity for places like Ukraine and like China. They have
Mhm.
been bred to think that they are okay, they are good people. But when you look at it, before 2007, 8, like that, those places were considered the most corrupt and vile places on earth.
Yep.
Yep.
And within a year, all of a sudden, it changed. So, this is something that I think we have to look at outside of the tariffing system, but we will be looking at the tariffing system. So, how are you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
I'm great. Having technical difficulties,
I
but
see
I'm
he's
good.
looking all into the camera like this, and
Yeah, I'm trying, man.
no, you don't need to do nothing. It sounds fine, looks fine. Don't even bother with it. Everything we've seen here looks fine, looks great. Um, the issue here, I think we'll address at one point. We're going to start with one thing first. In fact, I won't start with that yet. I'll start with what the people that have always told us are telling us right now, that China is good and great, and that they are just fighting for their own people, and that we need to understand that we need to stop tariffing China so hard. We're going to read what they've been saying about China some time ago. This is I hope you all know CBS News. This is CBS. Okay.
Oh, we're
Chinese
familiar.
hackers took trillions in intellectual properties from about 30 multinational companies. This was in 2022.
Mhm.
22. There was who was in power in 2022? Who was that guy?
He
That's
said
a
something
Joe,
famous, didn't
something.
he?
Yeah, what was his
Yeah, it's like
name?
what did
corn
he
pop.
say? What did he say? He said something like "true international evidence of pressure."
Yeah,
Yeah.
Those quotes.
Bidet. No, Biden. Biden.
Yeah.
Biden.
There it is.
Biden. Biden was the guy that was in power, right?
Mhm.
And here we have in 2022, May 2022, Chinese hackers are taking trillions. Now, mind you, these particular hackers never pay a penalty on American soil for crimes done against America. I hope people understand that.
That's
Nor
crazy.
did they pay a price in China for something they did internationally. I hope you know that because they're working for the CCP. It's not like these are just hackers that are working on their own independently and China is looking into them to try and get them arrested. That will never happen, never has happened because the intellectual properties are being shared with the government and it's
Mhm.
at the government's behest. I hope people are aware that's how this works. So, a year-long malicious cyber operation spearheaded by the notorious Chinese state actor APT-41 has siphoned off an estimated trillions. I can see why y'all don't make it very far in the news network because y'all don't know English. Siphon off trillions. That's all you have. You can't say an estimated trillions. Anyway, has siphoned
Sensational.
off trillions in intellectual property theft from approximately 30 multinational companies within the manufacturing, energy, and pharmaceutical sectors. Weird. Manufacturing. Isn't that what the biggest part of this tariff war is over?
Yep.
Steel? Odd.
Mhm.
Um, a report by Boston-based cybersecurity firm CyberReason has unearthed a malicious campaign dubbed Operation Cuckoo Bees. Nice little name there. Uh, exfiltrating hundreds of gigabytes of intellectual property and sensitive data, including blueprints, diagrams, formulas, and manufacturing-related proprietary data, and multiple intrusions spanning technology and manufacturing companies in North America, Europe, and Asia. We're talking about blueprints, diagrams of fighter jets, helicopters, missiles.
Oh.
We saw them stealing IP of drugs around diabetes, obesity, and depression.
That,
Now, hear
wow.
me out.
Okay.
If this is what China is doing, why are we so concerned about how they do financially, and why should we care about their economy thriving?
Because
My
we're
question.
global citizens.
Yeah. Okay. They're apparently not though.
Hey,
I have a
nationalism
question.
is a thing in Asia.
Oh. Hmm.
So they're saying China's stealing all this information, technology, blueprints, everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they're operating out of China, building all these things, whether this intellectual property. They're
Right.
in China, in a communist country,
Mm.
building this stuff in China.
Right.
So did they expect them not to steal it at some point?
No, they don't expect anything because they're allowing it.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was getting at because I was like, there had to be an agreement of some sort. This is what I'm thinking. China, communist China says, okay, you want to operate in my country to save yourself money. So here's what you're going to do. You're
Allow
going
us.
to allow us to have access to some of this property. So what America does, of course, they're like, wait a minute, China stole this, but I think they actually had an agreement and gave them access to some of this property.
You would have to.
I
Yeah.
mean,
The amount of stuff that they're taking. Okay, hear me out. Y'all can find out if I have $600 in my bank account and razz me for it on my income tax. But
Mm-hmm.
you don't know, with all the cybersecurity people you got, when China's taking trillions from you. Look, I wasn't born yesterday, and we ain't that retarded. Okay, let's get this straight. Well, let me just put it this way: there are still Americans that are not retarded. There are tons of Americans that are that retarded, and most of them are on the left. Let's not get it
yeah,
twisted. There are tons of people who
yeah.
are calling themselves conservative. They're retarded too, but the majority of retarded people are on the left. Okay, you have to be a special kind of stupid to think that China comes in to the United States of all places, where we have all these three-letter agencies that deal with security, okay, international security, to not know that they've been taking. And here's a secondary thing: you know now they've been taking. Where are the requests for that to one to be returned, or for people to be held responsible on the part of the American government. That never happens. Biden never asked Xi Jinping to do anything. He never put any kind of mandate out there to send those people to the United States soil to face punishment. He never asked the Chinese government to punish them because why? He didn't care. He was
Yeah.
getting kickbacks from it. All the government officials get kickbacks from it. Why would they care if they take intellectual properties? Look at how China has upgraded their military and their infrastructure since this whole intellectual property theft has been going on. It's been going on for a while. It's not just 2022. This goes way, way back to the years of Clinton. Okay, they've been taking stuff from us for forever. They've been building up their armies for forever now. Okay, the reason why they look better, have better education, better facilities, better roads, better everything is because they have been taking all our money. We've been sending it to them. So I don't understand why people are so mad about these so-called tariffs on them. I really don't understand why. But maybe it's just because they have no other recourse but to, act like feign anger. So here's what they say. Cyber criminals were focused on obtaining blueprints for cutting edge technologies, which they've already put into play, and the majority of which were not yet patented. The intrusion also exfiltrated data from the energy industry, including designs for solar panel and edge vacuum system technology. This is not technology that you have at home. It is what you need for large-scale manufacturing plants. The report doesn't disclose a list of affected companies, but researchers found that cyber espionage campaign, which had been operating undetected since the early 2019, collected information that could be used for future cyber attacks or potential extortion campaigns. Details about companies, business units, network architecture, user accounts and credentials, employee emails, and customer data. Cyber Reason first caught wind of the operation in 2021 after the company flagged a potential intrusion during a business pitch meeting with the cybersecurity firm. Analysts reverse engineered the attack and to uncover every step of malicious actors. They found the actors, by the way, took inside the environment, discovering APT 41 maintained full access to everything in the network in order for them to pick and choose the right information that they needed to collect.
I have another question. So, what country is all this cybersecurity technology, hardware, and software created at?
The majority right now is being done within the confines of China.
Okay, so let's say China creates this technology. They're building this technology for computers, hardware, software. Wouldn't you think China would have a back door to get past certain
Security measures. Yeah.
security? Wouldn't you think that like they're smart enough to be like, we'll put it in there to make them feel good about themselves, but we know how to get around it?
No, because they don't need the back door they're being allowed in. Why would they need the back door? Here's the thing, and this is what I genuinely believe. No proof of this, but I know how the government works. The same way that we had the Iran-Contra scandal. Okay, so don't tell me that the government doesn't fund things that destroys American companies, and don't tell me that the American government doesn't fund things that destroys Americans. Okay,
Yeah.
we're quite notorious for doing that crap over and over and over and over again. Okay, like that pallet of cash that Mr. Black Jesus sent over to Iran. Okay, now hear me out. If I know that the amount of money that China gets from companies that are over there, and I don't do anything to the companies that are supposedly American based but have all their operations in China, knowing that money, and I allow them to do that without penalty, and I'm going to get a kickback for every dollar they make, I have no problem with China upgrading their systems. I have no problem with China upgrading their intellectual properties, even if it's at the expense of American, because America is not where I'm making my money anyway. I'm making my money based on what they're doing over there. And if I allow them to tariff us to death, which in 2008, the discrepancy was massive. You're talking about thousands of percent of tariff differences. If I can have them tariff us to death, but I'm still getting a kickback, it doesn't matter what it does to the American economy. It doesn't matter because I'm getting my pay. And this is why the politicians never do anything to bring any cyber bullies to death, to punishment. They never bring any infiltrations to the forefront to get them punished by either China or by America. There's no need to, because it's making them money. So now Trump comes in and he says, I'm not making any money off of China. Don't need to make any money off of China. We're going to tariff you so you don't have to make any money at all. I'm going to cripple the mess out of you. So here you go. Blam! Oh my gosh, Trump is killing China. Yes, I hope he destroys China. I want him to cripple China to the point where they can't breathe. If they're not going to pay for the crap they did to America over the last 30, 40 years by bringing the people that do it to justice, I hope their economy goes completely to crap.
Yeah.
That's what I hope. I don't mind them losing every dime that they've made. I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad if they go back to rickshaws. I don't feel bad if they go back to mud huts. I don't care. I don't care if they go back to having to carve mahogany trees out in the woods to build their own little temples. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve it because they've been emulating the American people through the government sources for far too long. Why should I care about them? You all tell me why. Give me a reason I should care. I'll wait. Give me one. Anybody? Reason I should care.
There is no reason. And the American people have been getting hit the hardest with this stuff. It's just, we were talking backstage. China's over there, stealing our technology, creating all this stuff, and then selling it back to us or giving it back to us, and we're paying crazy amounts of money for this. So as these people are getting rich, and China's getting rich, and all these other countries that we trade with, they're getting rich, and they're putting money into their infrastructure and their country. Americans are losing. We're becoming poorer and poorer because we're forced to buy these products that we actually need, but it's getting to the point where people can't afford them while these other people are getting rich. And they can care less if we can't afford it. They can care less if we get poorer. You go to China, you go to all these countries they say that are our enemy. Mm-hmm. Looks like, dang, the Jetsons there. You come to America, it looks like Beirut. Like you go to Skid Row, you go to downtown Austin, any major city, it looks like the slums. And we're the best of the best of the best when it comes to technology and everything else, but we're selling all our stuff to these other countries. They're stealing our technology. Then they're taking that technology and actually building their country up to look the way it does. While the rich in our country are just taking their money and they're living a good life while the Americans are living like crap. So yes, we want it back. And if that means they got to live in a mud hut and live in rice paddies again, so be it.
Exactly. When we're going to bring up a chart here for you guys to see. Okay. I'm not sure it'll be super clear. Let me see if I can get a little bit brighter or a little bit closer. I think that might be the best I can. Let me try one more time. Let's go to 200%. Nah, 200% doesn't do it justice. We're gonna have to live it like this. All right. So I want you guys to look at this chart. Okay. This here is the import versus export for America. This is USA. Mm-hmm. Okay. The blue line is what we import. The red is what we export. Do you see something kind of crazy here? Do you see the massive of difference? It's like a $2 trillion difference between what we export to what we import.
Right.
Okay. We import more than we export. Now you have to ask yourself, do we need the stuff that we're importing? Do we need to get it from other countries? The answer is no. Mm-hmm. We do not. We have enough resources here to get them from here. What stops us from getting it from here? I'll tell you exactly what stops us. Red tape.
Yeah.
Yep.
The more you regulate here that local businesses cannot do certain things, the easier way is to go overseas to get it in. Right? Good. So if I go overseas and I have to pay a certain amount, the thing is I have less issues getting it from overseas. And since I have a whole lot less red tape to have it imported, I benefit. But here, who doesn't benefit? The American population. The American population doesn't benefit from it because it comes back on us. How? By the way of jobs. It affects us by the way of jobs. If I don't have the resources here to claim and I have to send it away, which means I'm paying money to a different business, they're the ones employing people, not me. You see how that works? So when you have a difference of trillions of dollars, you're telling me now that you're depending on someone else's economy to funnel ours, and that will never work out to our benefit. Because if it based on what they want us to do, not what we want to do. If they decide one day they're just going to stop doing something, who gets crippled? Us. Mm-hmm. So what's the best thing to do? Force the companies that are going overseas, since you can't get the red tape gone away because both Congress and the Senate don't want those things gone. The best thing and next option is to tariff them. If you want to have it done, do it here.
That's
Now,
right.
here's a bad thing that Trump has to deal with because he still has rhinos in his cabinet.
Yeah.
The best thing would be to lift regulations locally. If you were to
Mhm.
lift regulations locally, you can help companies not have to go foreign to get parts and things to get them sold here. Secondarily, then the tariffs would make sense. They would have no problem coming back to the United States to do their stuff. But as it stands now, the only people suffering are going to be us. But it wasn't because of his tariffs. It's because of the red tape that has been put in place. And the people have no other choice but to go overseas to get what they get done.
Right.
I don't know how this is difficult for people, but maybe it is because they don't eat. I don't know. They don't want to think properly.
And
I'm confused.
And you know what's crazy is that they have all this red tape and these regulations. So what they end up doing, all these resources, they end up selling it to places like China. China actually owns a lot of land here in America. So China buys up all the land while tariffing us to death in their country. They come up here and buy up the land with those same resources in our country, and then they're just sitting in, they're double dipping. They're double dipping. They buy it up, they make their money here, they send it over there, they're making their money there, and it's crazy. And as you say, they need to lift these regulations. Let Americans own this land, clear all the red tape, lift the regulations, and bring it back,
The same
and
thing with
force
oil.
them to buy it from us again at
Yeah.
high tariffs.
And
Lots
it's
of
the
money.
same thing with oil.
Yep,
It's the exact same thing with oil. We get oil from overseas all the time. Every one of these Middle East countries, and even from Russia when we don't need to.
that's right.
Environmentalists say you can't do that, but they have no problem asking us to go to places where they say, now remember, the environment is all that matters, but you're still taking in oil from places that look and have a way, way more emissions than us. And you're fine with us buying oil from them. You just don't want it done here. The reason you don't want it done here is because you're getting money from the overseas people
Yeah.
that American people aren't getting.
That's right.
But when we have it drilled here and done here, there's no problem because you have one, local jobs, and two, cheaper gas.
Yep.
I don't
And
see how this is. I don't see how people don't get this stuff. But again, I have to be. Let's go down here and check something out here. Okay, so we are going to look at the tariffs now. Mind you, this is in. Let me get the dates right. Okay, this is in 2008. Okay, maximum tariff is 350%. Maximum rate tariff. That was what America is putting on China. Okay, this is what we put on China, not what they put on us. We put on them. Okay, make sure you keep that number. All right, we're going to change this now to China. 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 Let's see what China does to us. Let's go. Let's go update, shall we? Let's go to update. Let's go back down to where that was. Oh, what's this? A maximum rate of 2,500% in 2008.
Oh, jeez.
That's what they tariffed us. Now, let me ask a simple math question. Is 2,500 more than 350?
yes,
Okay. Is that a fair trade?
but no.
Is that fair? That's my question. No one argued when China was doing it to us. It was fine then. No worries here. And America was happy to pay that out. In fact, all we thought about was, man, Obama was the best negotiator of overseas stuff we ever did saw. Man, he was the best. Man, our goodness gracious, I can't believe that Black Jesus could ever be any better. Woo!
The Black
Meanwhile-
Messiah.
Black Messiah,
Meanwhile-
Black Jesus himself. So let's go for a different date. Let's go to when he was just about to exit office. Let's go to 14. Okay, let's go to 14.
Meanwhile, China is going, ooh, money.
Oh, look. In
I love money.
2014, it went up to 3,000.
Oh, gosh. Yo, what the?
3,000.
And in that 3,000, I know we discussed it backstage, but what are those resources that would cost that much that we don't have here? And that's what you have to keep asking yourself.
Well, it isn't based on what they have. It isn't based on what they have. None of this tariffing is based on the necessity of it for Americans.
Yes,
It is based on what Americans has made it a necessity because we can get it here. So it's not really a necessity.
exactly.
A necessity would be I can't get it here.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
exactly.
you say so? Okay, so I can get
Yeah.
it here, but it's not a necessity.
And that's what I was asking. I was like, for that amount, what is so important that we're getting from them that we can't get here already? Why are we paying that amount of money when those whatever resources, whatever they're giving us, we have it here?
Well,
It
yeah,
makes no sense.
ask the people who go in being worth $10,000 and come out being worth 150 million.
That's why.
Got to line them pockets. So let's go further again. So this was 3,000. This is Obama. Remember, it's a 500% jump. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's go to Trump's year. Let's go to 17 because that would have given him a year.
Yeah.
Still at the 3,000 rate. Right? Now remember, he had started putting tariffs on China. So let's see if it's changed the 350 number. Let's see if that changed. That will be the test here. Let's see if he put any more taxes on China. United States. Da, 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 da. Did I update? I did. United States 17. Oh, look, he matched it. He matched it. And that's exactly what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
You feed that energy. Oh, you give me 3, I'm going to give you 3. Okay, fine. Y'all want to play hardball? We going to play hardball, sucker. Let's do this. Let's see what happened when we start playing hardball. Okay, cool. Now let's see what happened. By the time he was almost done, let's go to 2019.
And you got to remember, too, in the middle of all this, for every 2 regulations there were, Trump was removing 1.
Right. Okay, now he went back down to 398. Okay, this is the United States. So now see what China did in comparison. China. Oh, look, 65. Oh, look. You see what? Now, who came in right after Trump? Biden did, right?
Dementia monkey.
All
Barack
right, cool.
Biden.
Cool. Now remember this. His first year, they matched tariffs. They didn't go down. They didn't go down until nearly his last year. All right, cool. I just want people to remember that. Okay, cool. Now let's go to 2000 and let's go like in the middle of his. Let's go to 22. Okay, update. And let's go to China. See what China's got to here. Oh, look, they jumped back up to 279. Let's go to see what America did. You would think the United States would at least match it, right? Or, hey, I wouldn't mind if you go higher, Biden. If you went higher, I would applaud you. This is the first time I'll applaud Biden and say, man, you're good. All right.
Wait, you mean you're expecting Biden to, grab his balls and say, hey, I'm gonna, do what I need to do?
Yeah, look, he matched. He went higher, 352.
Okay.
Now hear me out. Nobody complained when he tariffed China more than China was tariffing us.
Wait, hang on a second, though. Isn't that Trump's number?
That's around Trump's number, yes.
Yeah,
that's higher than Trump's number, actually.
Well, yeah, because he kept Trump's tariffs during his presidency.
Mm-hmm.
And he just tagged on a little bit more.
Yeah, just a little bit more. So now we have a so-called ballooning trade war. Now, what would be the reason that China would be so upset that Trump is tariffing them equally? I'll give you my premonition about why. I do believe that during the time that Biden was, I'm going to say Biden because he's just like Obama, that old Biden was in there. What was the number one concern that we had about Biden because of his son? Who were they making money with besides Ukraine? 'Twas China. You're muted, by the way, Mike. China. It was China that was making all this money for Biden's, right?
Yeah.
Now, what would happen if my president didn't win a re-election campaign? And I was hoping that Biden would be back in there. What would China do if Trump got back in and realized, hey, we need to make sure that we get, because they stops at 2022. We still have 23 and 24 to look at, and they don't go any higher than 2022.
Right.
I wish this went higher than 2022, but it doesn't go any further than 2022. There's no updates past that. So I have a suspicion, this is my theory, that in 2023 and 24, the tariffing switched again back to a high end for China and a low end for the United States. and that the guarantee was if I win again, it will remain that way, and we'll go back to a pre-first term Donald Trump, where United States was being siphoned off by China. Now, if China had that wherewithal to say, okay, cool, we good, you won, then we can win again, perfect. Now Trump pops in,
Mm-hmm.
and Trump said, no, 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 we gonna match that energy again. Now China's mad. Of course, you're going to have a fight on your hands. They're not going to give in again. They gave in the first time with no guarantees that Biden was going to win. He had never won before.
Mm-hmm.
But now your boy gets in there. Your boy gave you what you wanted. Your boy's no longer in there. The king steps back in, and all of a sudden now we're in a trade war that's crippling everything when it's not crippling Jack. It's crippling the whole economy is going to crash, and now the whole
Right.
fear mongering sets in. And what does fear mongering do? It creates for the slow amoeba brain people to lose their ever living minds.
Mm-hmm.
But I will go back to my original question. Why are we afraid to destroy China when they have been showing out loud and in public that they want America destroyed? That's my question, and I'm waiting for an answer.
Do you want the low IQ answer or do you want the rational answer?
Let's go with the low IQ first.
The low IQ answer is because we're all global citizens and it's kumbaya. We are the world.
Kumbaya.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What will be the smart answer though?
Screw China.
I think we've been conditioned as a society that a lot of our luxury, and a lot of it, I think it stems from luxury items, the phones and the laptops and the bags and all this luxury stuff. And a lot of people, we've been conditioned to love that stuff. And a lot of these people believe that with this trade war, they're going to lose access to a lot of these things, or the price of these so-called items are going to skyrocket when it's just the opposite.
Well, yes, provided that, for instance, if Nike stops making their Jordan 1s and Jordan 3s over in China, and they make it here in America, yes, there'll be a slight increase in the price of a Jordan 1 mid would be it will go from 120 to maybe $170 because you still have to pay American workers American wages.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But again, with Trump's plan, the tariff plan that he implemented was a two-part system. One, removing the federal income tax, which will give the average taxpayer an average increase of roughly $12,000 to $17,000 a year because they're not paying that income tax. And two, that tariff that he implements is going to be bringing in buttloads of cash into the country because businesses are now relocating, which means higher wages for American workers, jobs for American workers, and then all around,
Night retro.
Yeah.
The I think what most people don't understand about what you just said is how much of a siphoning on American jobs that countries like China do because of these trade inequities. So when you have a inadequacy between your funding and my funding and how much you have to pay and how much I have to pay, we just think, well, it'd be cheaper to just get it from China, or hear me out, or not get it from China, have it done here for the same price. Because that's very possible. You know why? Because if I'm have to pay, now hear me out, if I have to pay for duty, I have to pay for the export fee, the import fee, I have to pay all that. The company still has to pay all that. Okay.
Yeah.
And the tariffs are affecting mostly the goods, not necessarily the import on my end. Although there is a percentage that does affect it. If I know that I can get this stuff from Frank down the street, and I tried to explain this to another friend of mine. If Frank down the street has a pencil and China has a pencil, Frank down the street has to get his goods from China and sells me the pencil for $10.
Mm-hmm.
I can get the same pencil from China for $2. The cost of materials cost us the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The difference is that Frank has to get his stuff from a foreign country. The foreign country is getting a better rate on the materials because they're getting a break sending it in. I'm not getting a break. They are. So I will just, and the consumer is the one that's going to think that's so cool. That's why people like Temu and Shein are so popular, because you're seeing it on the end that you think you're benefiting. Man, I pay less. But who's the one that's actually benefiting from it? Not the United States.
Yeah.
China is. Now, if Frank was given the same amount of leeway that the company in China was giving, you'd get it a lot faster. There would absolutely no worry about importing anything and time frame. You just go down the street and pick it up. You're good to go. But because of red tape, Frank can't sell you that pencil for that. He has to make up a whole bunch of other deficits that he cannot get any discounts on because of how things are set up on international trade. If we were to actually care about the United States citizens, we would get everything. And again, we can get everything that we can shut off the border today. And America could self-sustain for the next 50 years and not need a single soul from any other continent on God's green earth for that 50 years. We have water, we have oil, we have ore, everything you can think of. Unless you want something exquisite, you won't need it.
Yep.
So that's the way I try to explain it to people. Everything we have, we can get it right now. Right now. But people don't want it.
So what would be your opinion on why we have all this red tape for the same resources that we're asking other countries to use that we already have here? Why are they so pressed on not allowing it?
Kickbacks. An American company will probably not pay a United States senator because I don't need your money and I don't need your influence. If you take off my red tape, what do I owe you? Nothing. Right? I don't owe you anything. The red tape is for you to keep control over me. The instant you take that red tape away, now I'm free to do things the way I want to do it, and I don't have to pay you out my back. I don't have to pay a protection fee to you no more.
Basically.
And I will never need you for a protection fee. So that's why I have to keep that red tape on the American citizen, and I can give the foreign people that because they're more than willing to give me a kickback.
Well, with all this red tape, you remember the what is that? What is that regulation that they just got rid of?
Oh, Chevron deference?
Yeah, the Chevron deference. So that was kind of the start to kind of deregulate, because that was a big problem, especially when it came to the FDA, the EPA, and all this. So with the Chevron deference gone, that kind of clears these little, organizations from implementing all this regulation and red tape. So this kind of opened it up. So I think Trump plays chess, man. So everything he's doing, everything that's happening, it's a chess play. Get rid of the Chevron deference. Then when we start bringing all these companies back through tariffs and we're going to force them to come back, they're going to understand when they get here, a lot of this red tape is
gone.
It's gone already.
But he did this in 16 through 20. If you remember, small businesses thrived under his administration because of how much red tape was lifted. And that was just through the means that he used with either executive orders or at the time when we could possibly get stuff done through Congress, we got them done. Yeah. But then they were still stymied by it because they couldn't go full bore. Yeah. Even when you remember they were trying to do something with the 230 with places like YouTube and stuff to get rid of their control over media. They didn't want that because the instant you did that, you can't tell the masses the truth. I can't afford to have them hear anything that's realistic. I have to have that control. So that didn't go anywhere. And I don't think that's going to go anywhere until we actually get the House and the Senate to actually function the way we want it to. Yeah. And I do think it needs to go. That protection needs to go away, completely go away. I agree. But the reason why they're not going to be able to do very much outside of this is until we get the tariffing system under control is because they're not going to see the benefit of it. At least the American people aren't. Right now, they have the American people blinded. They really believe that helping China is a good thing. This is how stupid we've become. They genuinely believe that China fighting the United States is a positive. I want people to have this sink in for a minute. China, the place where they regulate how many women can be born. China, the place where they have children labor camps. China, the place where you cannot speak your mind freely. China, if you say anything against the regime that's in power, you die. China, the one place that during that whole cough, hack thing, burned people in buildings because they were all infected. China, those are the people they are rooting for. While at the same time, over here, protesting genocide in Israel and Gaza.
Yep.
I want to see how retarded these people really are. I need you for you to understand this. The same people that are so opposed to children dying in the Gaza Strip have no problem putting a child behind a sewing machine. They have no problem with that. None at all. They have no problem with children being put to death because they are born female. Or you have a regulation on how, of course, they would agree with that because they're for abortion. So,
right. I mean, but my Nikes and my Jordans,
my phones. I'm just saying, it makes sense to me why they think the way they think, but it also proves to you why we can't make any headway in this country, because we have way too many idiots voting. Way too many.
And they're just more upset at Trump. You know what I mean? It hasn't. They don't really understand tariffs, and I don't really understand it, but a lot of them don't understand it. And none of us ever thought about tariffs, right? Until like at this moment that we're in. We never really thought about it. We never really talked about it. But now that it's in the limelight, more and more people are, talking about it. But if they really sat down and looked at the numbers, like we just explained on the show, showed them the numbers, they would understand that it's a good thing. But they hate Trump so much, it doesn't matter. Trump can save them $1,000 a month, in resources, gas, food, taxes, and everything, and they will still be upset about it.
The crazy thing is, he is the president of the United States of America. If you're an American and you're a feckless liberal baboon, that applies to you as well, unfortunately. Yep. So
you see, the tariff system worked when we were exporting.
Mm-hmm.
The tariff system made a whole lot more sense when we were actually doing stuff to the nation, the world wanted. Mm-hmm. The people wanted American goods. You remember when American goods meant something? Do you remember when American made was like, you can't get anything better than American made? It was, there was some diligence put behind it. And because people were working, people actually had pride in the job that they did. American steel was the finest steel. Automobiles were the best. You look at anything from after or just before World War I to about just after World War I, even then, American-made products were like the top of the line.
Yeah, that's right.
People used to flock to get anything from America. Today, you don't want nothing from here. Mm-hmm. You don't want, and we don't, and it proves out in our import-export disparity. We are taking more from other countries than we are sending out. So the tariffing system is already broken by way of what we do, because we don't have anything manufactured here, which is why Trump's emphasis is to bring back the manufacturing to make American made. It's not just because of the name is made in America. It's because of what it meant. It meant quality. It meant that we put our blood, sweat, and tears into it. And when the people got it, they were so satisfied with it, they came back for more. He's trying to bring that industrial area back. If you can, I don't know that we'll ever get back there, because the workforce is so diluted and they're so mentally gone. They have no idea what it means to actually work. Yeah. They don't. They're too coddled in today's society. These people are complaining that they have to work 9 to 1 o'clock at a fast food joint. They're complaining that they have to work that's too much work. And then they want to get paid more for working even shorter hours at an even easier job. This is the new workforce we have, which is why family is such a destructive thing to them. They want to kill off the kids and make the kids lazy so that they don't have to worry about working. This is why I'm telling you that they're against it. When you tell somebody, oh, I'm making sure that my children work from the age of 12. You tell them, oh, what kind of stupidness is that? When I have to tell my kid, I'm not going to buy you a Nike. I'm going to buy you a third-hand car for your first car. Mm-hmm. They want to buy the kid all kinds of expensive stuff. Why? Because they're trying to create in the child's mind this idea of not doing anything but getting something for it.
Yeah. Yep.
This is going to enhance the next population coming forward to have even more things be outsourced from America and to make America so subservient to other countries we are no longer a power anymore. Mm-hmm. I think it was Reagan that said it, right? It's going to be from inside out that America will be destroyed. And it's working. America is being destroyed from the inside out. When Trump is trying to make sure that everything comes back here, be done here, and restore what was originally known as American excellence, they don't want that, because right now, thank you to the school system, which is why he's also dismantling the Department of Education. The school system makes people more communistic in their mindset, where everything outside of America is what values more, not here. Yeah. And you end up with a society, unlike China, everyone in China is pro-China. You ain't gonna find a whole lot of people pro-America in China. You ain't gonna find anybody pro-Ukraine in China. It's all pro-China in China.
Yeah.
You can't find that here.
And when you talked about when you said it started with Obama, I remember Obama saying it, that America's been on top for too many years, pretty much, and it's time, pretty much for us to take a step back and allow other countries to remember that he'd be on the forefront of, be the top country. So, you know, Obama, like you said, he started all this. They wanted to see the downfall of America. They wanted to put America last. And you see it through our work ethic. You know, we push a lot of stay-at-home jobs. We push a lot of tech. We push a lot of stuff to where it doesn't take a lot of physical labor to create, because we want to outsource the physical labor, because most Americans are lazy. We're intellectually lazy and physically lazy. And it's showing now. So when all this stuff comes back, I think over the years, you're going to start seeing the way America was back in the great industrial times. You know, we're going to be the industrial revolution. We're going to be out here creating. We're going to get rid of all these secret patent programs. The ideas of Americans are going to be on the forefront, because Americans create all types of stuff, but it's not allowed to get out there. Then you see somebody else in then these other countries create it, and it's all over the place. And what do we end up doing buying? What do we buy? We buy the same creation that an American probably came up with. We buy it on this other country, from this other country, and sell it here because of all the red tape. So I can't wait for it to happen, man. Might be an old man by that time, but hey, I'm here for it.
Yeah, like, okay, so like this particular clip I'm going to show you is why I've told people that this idea of American excellence is gone. Okay, it is gone, and the person that they put in power, Mr. Biden, had already in his mind set up this idea that America was not worth anything.
So
Okay,
you figure out how to live together like we do, you will never, never, never make it. America's strength ultimately lies
listen.
in its people. There's nothing special about being American. None of you can define for me what an American is. Can't define it based on religion, ethnicity, race, culture.
I'm sorry, what?
You can't. And he was completely within his scope of thinking when he said that. There's no dementia setting in there. This was in 14.
Yeah.
He was still vice president of the United States. There is nothing special about being American. Nothing. Which is why he had no problem outsourcing every bit of America while he was vice president, and why he doubled down on it during his administration.
Yeah.
The Biden administration, just like the Obama administration, just like the Bush administration, just like the Clinton administration, just like the Reagan, all of them had very little to do with American excellence. Very little. They had some inclination that maybe we can have something called American. The last person to really push for American excellence was Kennedy. And they offed him. They offed him. He was trying to do stuff that no other Democrat was really trying to do, which was more of a centrist Republican idea, which was to get America back on the charts of being the top dog.
Right.
What? You can't have that. You cannot have that. Bye-bye, Mr. Kennedy. You out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout from that period till now, the destruction of America had begun. It kicked in, boom. Even for all Reagan's grandiose speak about how America is and American people from the inside, he was part of the system that did it too. He had 1 or 2 years where he did something really great for America, but on the back end, he didn't really block anything from taking place to destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't give him much credence either. And I'm definitely not giving any of the Bushes anything, because they're trash altogether.
Yeah.
Not to mention what Clinton did with NAFTA. So I can't feel bad. Look, I don't want any, I wish none of them were ever president of the United States. I really do. But the first person to ever really put America and America made, America owned, America first was Donald Trump within the last 50 years. That is factual. That is factual.
Yeah.
He has wanted to make everything done here that used to be done here. Manufacturing, jobs, work, jobs, export here. Everything we had to send out, everything that was done here needs to have a stamp, American on it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that anymore. And when Biden came in, as he told you, there's nothing special about being an American. And you can't tell him what being an American is. Because in his mind, there is nothing special about being an American. Because he doesn't have an identity of America. He has a global identity.
Yep.
All of them did. They all had their hands in the global trust.
I mean, which is why, if we look at his presidency, it was never about make America great. It was about make Ukraine great again.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
What are we doing here?
Okay, think of this. He didn't go to the UN to get the UN to send any, or at least a matching amount of funds to send to Ukraine. Never did that. Mm-hmm. He never asked any other large-scale country to aid in Ukraine's humanitarian need. Never did that. Mm-hmm. Instead, he just went unilaterally above and beyond to just send funds continually and to send weaponry to Ukraine. If you were to put all the funding that he put by cost, you're looking at somewhere in the region of $250 to $300 billion that he could have easily put into American infrastructure, which he said he was going to do with his bill. And to this day, not a single piece of infrastructure was put in place, one brick on top of another, because of that infrastructure bill. Not one American chip was made with the CHIPS Act. Not a single thing that he passed has ever been done. But he did it to gain votes and popularity.
Yep.
All that funding that was put aside never got used, and it will never be used because it was never there. It was on paper only. The same thing when he said we're going to have reparations discussions in Chicago, we're going to have reparations discussions in California. They were just discussions. Black people are not getting nothing from these people. They're not giving you reparations. They were only investigating. How long you got to investigate? How much reparations you got to get? It's simple. What is the cost of a mule then? What's the cost of a mule now? What's the cost of 40 acres then? What's the cost of 40 acres now? Equivalent. Bam, reparations. How is that difficult? You know what they got to do? They got to investigate. They got to send this committee here. Meanwhile, the committee's getting paid, by the way.
Yep.
The committee sent up about a $5 million pool for them to investigate for a whole year. So now that's $5 million between 4 different people that's getting out of that $5 million, right? So you're looking at easily a what, 1.1 million per person, right? Okay, cool. They're just investigating to see if you can get, then they come back and say, well, it's not feasible yet. Mm-hmm. This is how they operate, because America is not on their front line.
And on that, the same black people investigating it, the same black folks that they voted for are already millionaires. So why would they want to make people that are supposed to vote for them, that they're supposed to take care of, wealthy also? So no, they was never going to make you wealthy, because once you're wealthy, what do you need them for?
Yep.
You wouldn't need them. So they're going to keep saying it and saying it and saying it and never coming through with it. And they're going to just keep you going to that ballot box every time it's time to vote, to give them that vote with the promise of giving you something that's never going to happen.
Kabam. So y'all can fight over the tariffs all you want. I mean, the lefties. Get mad all you want. But I hope every time that China bumps up, we bump up double. Every time. And I hope he just keeps going. We'll see who'll win this out. I hope he just keeps going. Every time you bring a tariff to me, I'm going to double my tariff. You bring another, I'll double it again. I'll double it again. And if you do shut off all communication with me, more power to you. And any business that has a footprint right now in China, you want to come back here, you better come back before this next tariff goes in place, or you're never coming back here, and you can't do business here at all.
Right. Hey, and don't we own the Panama Canal now?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're done, China. Oh, you want to do what? Do the Panama Canal? No, we're going to charge you quadruple if you want to trade. Smart
now,
move.
the suffering will be there for a bit, because plenty of people have become dependent on China.
Yeah.
But when you start to realize that we don't need China, because the same things they offer us we can get here, the less panic will set in, and eventually, trust me, the panic will go away. You have to remember, we are in April. The man started at the end of the 20th of January.
Right.
February, March, April. It's been 3 months. Not even 3 months, because we still have 6 days to hit that 3-month mark. And people are already saying, man, a crazy crap. Oh my gosh, you're falling apart over 3 months. But hey, I hope you lose your ever-living mind and go crazy, and you need a straitjacket, because they ain't going to miss you in society. I hope that happens to every leftist, because the same way we want China gone, we want y'all gone too. We don't need y'all in society. We really don't. Look, honestly, I don't care if you lose your mind. I do not care if tomorrow you wake up absolutely crazy where you're eating your own feces. I wouldn't care about you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bat an eye. I'd be like, oh, okay, asylum for you. Stay in there. Go hang out with the Joker. Ain't nobody care. You put yourself in that crazy jacket. I don't really care about you. Because if you're that stupid and volatile, then you deserve to be in a straitjacket and taking meds every day, so you're drooling in a wheelchair. Stay there. Society would be better off without you, because you're not volatile and causing issues. For the rest of the people who can put their emotions to the side and hold out for long enough for China to realize that we don't need them, they need us, we'll be all right.
That's right.
We'll be all right. But unfortunately, like I said, the majority of people, and look, if you watch the news, you will continue to lose your mind. But if you understand that this is a process that has to happen, because just like with any cut you get, the first part of getting that cut fixed is painful.
That's
Aside
right.
from the cut, you got to treat that cut with something that's going to antibacteria it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that bastard burns, like it
Stings.
burns.
Before it heals.
Okay. And then after about a week, it's still hurting.
Yep.
And even when it sears over, it still hurts.
Mm-hmm.
This is part of the process. And it has to happen in order for America to get its footing back. For too long, we've let this slide, and we have to start putting our foot down. And I'm thankful that he's going to continue to do it. I hope he doesn't lose his resolve.
Yeah.
I really do. I don't think he will, but I hope so.
And what's that old saying? It's got to hurt to heal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's got to hurt. It has to sting a little bit, but on the back end, when it heals, you guys are going to love it.
Let me look into that real quick and see something here.
BlackRock bought the Panama Canal, so does U.S. own it? Owned by global leads?
Let's find out.
We'll see.
Let us find out right now. So as of what they say today, this is what they say, the same way they have the Gulf of America not listed as the Gulf of America. So you can take this report with a grain of salt. They say that it's still currently managed by the Panamanian government.
Managed.
Yes.
But who owns it?
And they say after a period of joint American-Panamanian control, the canal was taken over by the Panamanian government in 1999. Is the Panama Canal under U.S. control? They say, no, it is no longer under control because of Jimmy Carter.
Mm-hmm.
I highly doubt that that is the case, but I'll wait to see if there's an update on this in the next couple of months. Because you know how long they took to put the update on the, but I don't think now if BlackRock does own it, it'll have to be done through the Panamanian government, which is easy enough to do. But we'll see. I have no doubt that America has now control over that based on how Trump operates. You may not even hear about it, but we'll see. I'll keep an eye on. But as of now, the reporting is, because I don't want anybody saying, y'all don't know what we're talking. As of now, the reporting is that the Panamanian government still has both ownership and control. Mm-hmm. We'll see about that.
For now.
In either case, Panama doesn't have a whole lot of stuff they can control either way, because it still has to come to ports here, even if it do go through the Panama Canal.
Right.
You can be stuck there for a long time if we just decide to close down that port on the American end anyway. So it really doesn't matter who owns it. You can traverse all you want, but you're not going to get any product to America.
That's right.
So we still control our borders last time I checked. But at the same time, I'm hoping that this continues. I really hope that this continues to foster a lot of anger with China. The most they can do is scream and puff their chest up. Mm-hmm. But they will never go to actual war over this. They will not. No one will go to actual fighting, throwing bombs at each other because of this. America will simply just shut off all communication.
I was hearing something about China in the housing market. I gotta find it. It was something.
Well, they got mine here, so I can see that.
Yeah, it was something with the housing market here in America and dealing with China. I can't remember. But we'll see, man. Something, on the 19th, the day before his 90 days in office, there's a big protest that day. And I forget what it's for because they're always.
Wait, I thought it was the 20th.
Is it the 19th or the 20th? I know it's coming up.
Hey, I can see that because they're both communist regimes. But again, them buying it from Venezuela will never affect the Venezuelan people. Maduro is the only one that's going to benefit from that anyway. Right. So it'll just be one communist trading with another communist and putting the people to work for dirt every day. So it doesn't mean, again, I don't see the UN talking anything about infiltrating Venezuela. You haven't heard them talk about that, even though all kinds of crimes against humanity is happening in Venezuela. Yeah. I don't hear them talking about anything going into China. And even though all kinds of crimes against humanity is happening in Africa, I don't hear them talking about that at all.
Nope.
I don't hear the UN or anyone talking about it. No, they won't talk about it because they're getting too many minerals and sources from that. So, oh well. Mm-hmm. No, I have not heard that the U.S. Harry Truman has been hit. I'm going to tell you this much. I wouldn't, if I were people, I know they're not going to listen to this podcast, but here's what I would not do with the kinds of people that are in power right now. I would not provoke Hegseth. Y'all call him drunk, right? Okay, hear me out. If he is a drunkard, I wouldn't mess with a drunk person.
No.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't. Okay, if you say let's just say Hegseth is all the things they say, a drunkard and he beats women. You going to really try and mess with the United States with a drunk wife beater in power? You that stupid? Okay, go for it. Now, for real, go for it. Go, man. Look, knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. Go ahead and torment a drunk dude with the ability to, bomb you. Go, be that dumb. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to that. Watch them fireworks. Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead. Have fun. Y'all just don't think. People just don't think. You call the man all kinds of things. And what if he really is that? What if he's really is a off his rocker, crazy, mental drunk dude who's always drink? He's always got some cognac in his hand, just tipping back all day long. You think he's going to rationally think, you bomb my, he's like, you did what a nuke. Like, really? Go ahead. Like, nigga, y'all stupid. Y'all stupid. Y'all just stupid.
They better sit this one out if they are trying something, because
go ahead.
We already know Trump, what he says is, if he says he's going to do it, he's going to do it.
FAFO, people. FAFO.
Yep,
go ahead.
He will do it.
Go
So
ahead.
try it.
FAFO all you want. Just don't complain if the drunk dude acts drunk.
Riding a tank in a battle, drunk. Wolverines!
Fly free, bird, yeah.
Leading the charge, too. Leading the charge.
Man, look, y'all are crazy. Y'all just don't. You don't think. You don't think. But we have a hearing back home. Those who don't hear will feel. Don't hear. Feel it though. Go ahead and feel. That's all right.
If we can say anything, I get it. Everyone wants their news and their information, but sometimes you got to turn off the noise, man.
Yeah.
The noise is making these problems bigger than what they really are. And if you just research a little bit, I mean, these guys are smarter than this on this tariff stuff than me. I learned something today. Just turn off the TV, turn off the news, and start researching it. And I'm pretty sure Marlon knows the site where to look at this stuff at. Just look at it yourself and look at the numbers. Then you'll understand what's really happening. Right. Stop believing the news and their scare tactics and their fear mongering.
I'll drop that link in the chat for y'all. I just dropped y'all the link from the chart we were watching. Take a look at it. Go through it. It has from, let me see what the years it covers here. From 1991 to 2022. Okay. Wow. It's a nice, robust time period. Go take a gander at it. For those of you on Rumble, here's the link here. Go check it out. Make sure you go take a gander at it. Look for it yourself. Don't just take my word for it. Go look. All right. If you all haven't been, we're starting to put more stuff back up on Too Strong. It's been a minute because we've been in a kind of a break since I was away for a bit. So we're back at it again. So go take a look. We just dropped one about that Memphis pastor that got shot while he was going to have dinner at 2:00 in the morning. Anyway, hey, ministering, I guess.
He had to go see Miss Parker. He had to go see Miss Parker.
It's almost like Forrest Gump, man. Your mama sure does love you. Yeah. Hey, look, y'all can get mad at me.
Mama sure care about them grades, boy.
You put yourself in that position. I don't care what you. Hey, look. Night walkers are a crazy breed. All right, cool. All right, good. Live you learn. Anyway, we'll be back on Wednesday, and by Friday we will have hopefully our new guest on with us, Mr. Glenn, Mr. Full Service. I think he should be on Friday. I'll find out for sure. And we'll be back. But Wednesday we'll be seeing what might happen, and we'll double check on a couple of things and see what's taking place, including enough to these so-called rallies that they have going on all over America. Like this, not even making any difference, but that might be their entire base just coming out in the middle of the day when they don't work. So, big whoop. So we'll catch up. I'll be back tomorrow. Straight talk. We'll take a gander at what's going on with these healing people, and that should be it. Don't forget, if y'all on Rumble, please make sure you smash the like button over there. Same thing goes on YouTube. Yeah, smash it all. Get it all going. I decided to stream this one on YouTube just to try and bring the people that are there to go over to Rumble So please do that. If you're on YouTube and you manage to see this, jump over to the Rumble account, get signed up over there, because eventually this YouTube will die. It's been dying, but it's not dying because we want it to. It's dying because YouTube will not give us what we're deserving, and it's getting kind of crazy. So
yeah.
Oh, you do hear from Lee. What are you talking about? Today was his most talkative day. But here's the thing: if what we're gonna try and start doing is putting a lot more of these shorter videos also on Rumble. And trust me, if you've ever seen Jay Lee's videos, they're quite entertaining. He uses this filter of a David statue head.
Yeah.
And Man Alive. We can make an entire series out of this thing. I'm telling you now, it could be an entire series.
Good.
And we might just do that because, look, entertaining. God, it's so good. And trust me, you'll know it's him. Just listen to the voice.
Yeah.
So it's
not that hard to miss.
Yeah, the head of David is speaking to you, so you better listen. So we'll catch up then. So, Mr. Lee,
like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all Wednesday.
Peace.
Whoa.